Welcome to On the Line With. I'm your host, Hanley. On the Line With is an arts podcast with a deep dive on mental health, substance abuse, and many social issues and causes at the forefront of our society. Join me every second Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern as I sit with various guests to discuss their art, personal stories, and inspiration from behind the microphone. You'll be on the line with me, Hanley, every second Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you. Welcome back to On the Line With Season 2, Episode 3. I'm your host, Hanley. Today I'm with Big Whaley, a good friend of mine, a visual artist, an artist at that, former graffiti artist, you name it. He has his hand in the paint, he's got talent, so I'm going to let him go ahead and introduce himself. So go ahead, Big Whaley, introduce yourself.
Yo, it's Big Whaley, 613 native, artist, and I pretty much run everything I do.
There you go. Doesn't hold back. And I guess we'll start off talking about music like I do with most people.
Sounds good.
Well, we lived together for a while, so like we got to know each other's music taste. So I mean, we had a lot of Dipset and things like that of that nature in our playlist. Do you still listen to that?
Oh, all the time. I remember back in the day, people always used to like talk shit about Cameron, saying, oh, he doesn't know how to rap, this and that, but they just didn't really listen to what he was saying. They just didn't like the words that he was saying.
Yeah, he had great metaphors.
Yeah, and him, Jim Jones, still to this day, I'm bumping him. He's got a new track with French Montana, and Joel Santana's still putting out music.
He got fat.
Yeah, he put on some weight because he went to jail, huh?
Yeah.
That song 23 and 1 by Joel Santana, that's a good listen to right there. He made that when he was coming out of jail, and he was talking about like how his son came up to him and kind of hit him different, you know, and his son gave him some knowledge to keep his head up.
And what new artists do you listen to these days? Like, what are you listening to these days?
I'm all over the map lately, you know, like one of my favorite songs is Mr. Rage by Trippie Redd. I don't like most of his music, but he has I like that track.
Yeah, some hits.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I just go off my YouTube list, you know, and listen to random things all the time. Some local artists. Some local artists I listen to would be like OTG from the South. Those guys are pretty good. London. I kind of just go off.
Shout out to London.
I go off I'll play an artist, and then I'll just scroll down the lines. I'll check this out. I'll check that out, you know.
And after listening to the podcast a couple times, did you find any artists that you were interested in off the podcast?
Pretty much all of them, you know. They all have their own different dynamics and different things that I like. So yeah, you know, you ain't putting anyone garbage on here. So I'm always feeling that.
Yeah, we definitely had some really great guests on the show so far. Hopefully season 2 is just as good. We have some special guests for season 2. Haven't released them yet, but we definitely have some from all over, from out east to out west, so change it up a bit. We got some comedian coming on. We got Dev on the Street. He's a street comedian. Kind of reminds me of Tom Green. Yeah, we're trying to switch it up a bit for season 2.
I'm probably the highlight, so just want to drop that little gem on you.
There you go. He believes it too.
Confidence, but not
lying.
cocky.
He's not lying. Confident.
But you got to stay humble at the same time. You need balance. You're just going to find yourself in a world of trouble.
Definitely. So if you're having a good day, what music are you listening to?
I will vary. I'll do older tracks, you know, we call Dipset. I'll do DMX tracks, you know, get me hype. I'll be playing old Tupac, old Biggie. I'll just go off a playlist like that, you know, on YouTube, and I'll just vibe out with that. Mm-hmm. Skip something that I find garbage, you know, there's always something there, but
yeah. And who would you say your least favorite rapper in the game is right now?
Just a lot of those people that sound the same, those playoff Migo guys with the different color hairs, but they don't got they go for the hair and the jewelry and all this and that, but then their songs really don't make sense. They don't have a basis. They don't have
no concept,
and they're not really getting good beats. You know, beat is the main thing when you're listening to a track.
Is that what you think? Is that your opinion? Is the beat?
It's the beat, the voice, and the flow. It's a combination, and you can have a good beat, but you can completely fuck it up, you know, and then I'll just listen to the instrumental and forget that person, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I still listen to instrumentals. I like listening to instrumentals. It kind of inspires me to get some music written. Just a side note, we are recording outside because it's a beautiful day and
Gotta enjoy it while it lasts.
Exactly, we only get so much time like this.
Before it goes back to minus 40.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 7 layers of clothes on.
Yeah, and then you won't catch me outside at all. But, so if you're having a bad day, what would you be listening to?
Bad day, I probably wouldn't even put music on at all. No, I would just go silent. I won't even put the TV on. I'll just be like, just bumming out in my bed and eating food. Not really doing much, you know?
Right. That has something to do with your anxiety that you were talking about, right?
Yeah, I was labeled with like multiple different mental illnesses. At first, it was PTSD, panic disorder, major depression. There's a couple other things, but then I went back to them, and then the things that they put together, it made sense, and they found out that I was bipolar. So it's pretty much just bipolar and post-traumatic stress.
Or basically diagnosed with the same thing. I'm bipolar with like a high tier of anxiety.
Yeah.
Shit, probably other things too. They just haven't figured them out yet. But while we're on the topic, how do you feel about like knowing that you have it? Like now that you have it, like do you realize how strong the stigma around it is?
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's if you don't have it, a lot of people like think that you're weak when you're having your anxiety or your depression, and it's not really like in your control, you know. It's like, it's just like you gotta, like, my way is like kind of tough through it and think of what I was doing before and where I was at, and try and move forward. But it doesn't always work out like that, you know what I'm saying?
You've always had a way of getting through like whatever you're dealing with, but sometimes nowadays I find that as you get older, it's harder to deal with.
Oh, most definitely. But I find right now, if I have people around me that like have knowledge of what I'm going through and they're not doing those things, like I try and keep solid people around me. I don't need people that are like popping bottles around me and doing all that stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta steer clear and keep my head on right.
And how are you dealing with your anxiety nowadays? How has it been?
Well, I was on medication, but I recently stopped, and I'm just kind of toughing it out. But I was dealing with it through alcohol, and alcohol will take away the anxiety. But the only problem with that is once you stop drinking, your anxiety goes twice as high. So you kind of get in this cycle of self-medicating, and it's hard to get out of that cycle.
Very hard. I could contest to that. Or sorry, I wouldn't contest to that. And so you're off the alcohol now?
Yeah, it's been 6 days now.
Okay, and when's the last time you were admitted for it?
Last time I was admitted for it was probably about a year ago. I was coming off a pretty intense bender. I was like drinking a 40 of rye every day, and like just like to get to the 30 ounces was just so I wasn't shaking like a leaf, just so I could function and go outside and go to work and buy food and just do normal things. That was just so I knew I could move. And then being an alcoholic, it obviously gets, you want to feel more, so you do more, and it just doesn't help anything.
Right. So I'm going to ask you like a weird question. So we're back when we're let's say we're back when we're, like, I don't know, 16, 17, 18. What would you tell yourself then if you could tell yourself anything right now?
Well, I mean, a lot of people drink. I'm on
Oh, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people drink. I'm not trying to single you out by no means. I'm asking the question just so the listeners see what example you're trying to make.
Like, hold on. I lost the question. What was the question again? My bad.
So, let's take it back to when we were living together and we were always drinking. We were binge drinking because, like, obviously I enabled you and you enabled me when we were younger. There's no question about it. Because if one of us drank, the other one was drinking.
Yeah.
So that's just some honesty for the listeners if they want it. But so let's take it back to when we were younger, binge drinking. If you could tell yourself anything then that from right now, what would you tell yourself?
Well, I come from a line of alcoholics, so having one drink is not really an option for me. So I would just tell myself, like, do you want to do this and have fun now and be hurting later? Or do you want to just, like, feel good all the time and have more money in your pocket,
Yeah, no, I hear that.
Okay, and down the line, it gets worse and it gets worse. You get a higher tolerance, lose more money, you feel sicker. Like, I wouldn't wish the sickness on anyone, the withdrawals.
The withdrawals, yeah, I hear are really bad, especially the shakes.
Yeah.
You feel like you're coming out of your own skin. And you're lucky you haven't had any seizures.
Oh, well, I actually did.
Well, you want to get into it a little bit? Give us a little bit of a story?
Well, I was...
Your call.
Yeah, I'll get into it. I was working, and every day before work, I would drink it like a Mickey, just to get me going.
Yeah.
And then I'd have some for after work. I'd drink during work. Yeah, it was my first time, like, just drinking heavily on my own, and I lost control and I became severely addicted. And then I went cold turkey without any knowledge of the damage, or, like, you could die going cold turkey. And
it's not like a rare thing. Like, it happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I don't know. I was just like, I was walking down the hallway and I just dropped and I was shaking. I didn't know what was going on. And then after, I called the hospital after that and got checked in. And I couldn't get checked in right away. And the advice that the hospital gave me was to keep drinking so I don't have any more seizures. And I found that so weird.
It's very weird to hear, but it's understandable at the same time.
Yeah, it just throws you right off when you're trying to reach out for help and they tell you keep drinking.
Keep drinking until we could help you.
Yeah.
Basically, it's help you survive, or you can possibly have a seizure and that could be the end of it.
Yeah, seizures, hallucinations.
I know when I had my seizure from taking antidepressants that I was prescribed, I know my seizure is pretty bad. Like, I didn't even remember anything when I woke up. So I could only imagine what the seizures were like when they're coming from alcohol withdrawal. And when you finally got the help, like, admitted into the Royal, was it?
Yeah, the Royal Ottawa.
What kind of help did you get? Did you get, like, the help that you think was suffice enough, or because they'd done a better job, or?
It's good to get off for the first spot they put you in, and then there's a second spot that they have, which I chose to stay in because I just knew I wasn't ready.
Right.
And they give you education on all the different aspects of, like, what leads to it, how to deal with anxiety, how to just like go about your life, how to eat healthy, like the benefits of sleep. And before this, I never like, no one ever really told me about nutrition and sleep and just how like much it benefits you, and you really notice it once you go from doing the opposite and then you're doing it completely good.
Okay, so when you were in there and they were talking about how to like handle your anxiety, what kind of ideas and tips did they give you?
One thing was mindfulness, um, meditation. Um, as an alcoholic, our main thing is like the second that we're bored, we're like, okay, I'm gonna go drink.
Yeah.
So you have to always stay busy. You have to have like a hobby, like painting or doing something. Like, just you got to find something to keep your hands busy.
Is that where your artistry comes from? Is to keep your mind busy and off the alcohol, or
Yeah, it's like,
because you've always done it. You've done drawing and stuff for a long time, but like now, like you really like put it like on a canvas and stuff like that. So
yeah, it really like it's something that like you have a task focused on, and like a painting will take a few hours for me because I'm also like OCD. And yeah, you have to have something that keeps your mind occupied and that's positive for yourself and for others to see.
definitely, and you know that you show off a lot of your paintings and like you're a funny guy on Instagram. So like,
Well, my monster guy?
no, you're a funny guy on Instagram.
Oh, I'm a funny guy on Instagram.
Yeah, you're a funny guy on Instagram. You've been doing that for a long time. Does that help you with your mental illnesses? Like, does it help you keep your mind off things? Or do you find that it's the opposite?
I'm kind of like
I'm in the middle personally.
I'm kind of like a crying clown sort of thing, you know? So like I'm making people laugh, and people are like seeing this and that, but I only have certain people that I can like talk real to.
Yeah,
But they understand like what I'm doing and where I'm coming from. It was like a hobby sort of thing too, as well, like making the videos, and another thing to keep yourself busy, you know?
yeah, exactly. And what have you been doing lately to keep yourself busy, to keep your mind clear of any like dark thoughts or any thoughts of drinking? Or 6 days is pretty good for. Are you doing a cold turkey?
Oh yeah, I went cold turkey. It was pretty rough. Uh, but now I just like I try and be more social. Um, I try and make sure to go out during the day. Open up my blinds. You know, like little simple things like that. Make sure to like I'm staying busy, like cooking good food, not eating all junk. Just like very like health oriented. You know.
Yeah. And let's get back into the alcoholism topic because that's your story, and I want the listeners who are listening with anybody suffering with alcoholism to reach out and try to get the help they need, or reach out to me and I'll give them the resources, etc. So, like, what do you think triggered the alcoholism? You think it was the fact that it ran through the family?
Yeah, it's always been like a disease that's been in my family. I've been around it since I was young. Like both parents were alcoholics. My dad's actually 30 plus years sober right now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and he did that on his own, cold turkey, and he never looked back. And he's like, I talk to him all the time about what I'm going through and stuff, and he completely understands. But like growing up, I always like would see my mom down in bottles straight. I used to take her bottles and pour it down the sink when I was younger, and she'd be like drunk and she'd flip out on me, you know what I'm saying? And then now I could imagine if I was in my drinking mode and
Yeah.
someone poured my bottle out, it'd be like hell to pay. But now I wouldn't really give a shit if I saw a bottle get poured down the sink. I wouldn't give a fuck, because I'm not trying to do that shit right now.
Yeah. You finding it hard, or?
It's always a struggle, but as they say, one day at a time, and just stay focused and think of all the benefits, the benefits that come with it.
And you have like a solid support circle around you?
Yeah, I got a few really good friends that they're halal, they don't drink, they don't do anything. They support me and they listen to me and they check on me all the time, make sure I'm not off on another one, trying to make this my last one.
Right. And the last bender lasted how long?
The last one was about almost a month.
And that was every day?
Morning to night. Like if I didn't get it by 12, like my body would just be shaking like a leaf and I was unfunctionable.
So how did you manage to make it there every day? You just woke up right in the morning and just headed there?
Oh no, I was like living in that house because when you drink a lot, you get like shaky legs.
Yeah.
And then you think about having shaky legs, which makes your legs even worse. So it was very hard to walk and my anxiety was high. So I just posted up there and I just kind of shut the whole world out.
But when you had to get the liquor for the bender, how were you getting it? Were you just...
Oh, it was all delivery. And I wouldn't even go to the door to get it because I was too shaky. And I'd just be thinking about like, oh, he's looking at my shaky hands.
That's a fucking pricey bender.
Yeah. Very pricey.
Look, I remember our benders I thought were bad when we were younger.
No, that last one was about 3 G's of booze. I don't even know where I got that money from.
That's the thing. You always seem to forget where the money comes from, and then when you need the money, you don't have it because you spent it on something stupid.
Yeah. The worst part is like the regret when you're coming back.
Oh, I know that.
Coming back to life and you're like, oh my God, I could have got a nice... couple nice outfits and maybe like some new towels for my house, like little things like that.
Yeah.
Just little things to make your own house better. And then you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll just spend it all on this fucking junk.
And when you were in the Royal Ottawa for the alcoholism, did they teach you anything that you didn't know, like about alcohol that you just never known before, or?
Well, I didn't know how severe it was and how like you could actually die from it. I just recently, probably like 20 minutes ago, I saw someone that I was in the RO with, and she's doing really good. She's been straight since then, and that was about 2 years ago. So yeah, she's coming up under 2 years. But then there's another person that was in the group with me, and she was a couple years younger than me, and she died from alcohol.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Younger and younger these days. I was like, you hear these young kids like 12, like 11, 12, popping bottles and drinking it with their friends and shit. And they start young and they're addicted by like 15, 16.
Yeah, that's what it was like for me. Every day we'd go to the park and it'd be like from 13 to 25. We'd all be hanging out together.
Yeah.
And the older guys would drink us. And one thing that always stuck in my head was it was me and 2 other guys. And we were with some girls one night. And I woke up and it was like, I was pretty young. I think I was like 16. But I was like, I never usually get hangovers.
Yeah.
And I was like dying. And what he told me, he was like, have some of what you had last night and it's going to make you feel better. And that kind of set like a bad tone for my adult years going on drinking.
It's a bad precedent to have.
People would frown on like drinking past, what's the hour, like 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
something like that. And I would do it like right away at like 9-10 when it's right there, finish that and then go get some more.
Yeah, exactly.
Just feel normal. And that's not how you get rid of a hangover, you know. You're supposed to like drink water and juice and have something to eat, you know.
Get some electrolytes.
Yeah, B12 and vitamin C and like, you know, like good things in your body that will bring your body back to level. But I was doing the opposite.
So are you or would you seeking any counseling services right now for alcoholism, or are you doing just straight cold turkey?
Well, other than the cold turkey, I have, like I said, like a few very good supportive friends, which I would like to shout out, but I don't know if they would want me to. And I was just talking to someone about going to AA meetings, which I found that helps, because it's like you don't really want to talk about these things to your loved ones, because then I find that they're very judgmental, and
it feels that way anyway.
Yeah, it feels that way. Not with all of them. Like my father is pretty good, but it's kind of like good to be in a room where everyone understands where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. You know, everyone has different stories on why they started, but everyone understands like the feeling and the withdrawal and the difficulty going day to day. And like, say you have a crap day at work and someone pisses you off and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go get a bottle at the LC right after work, you know. And but like
everybody seems to have the same reasons, except for their stories different. Like they all have different stories as to why they started. Or
yeah, the good thing about AA is that it's like it's not someone that you deal with every day, you know. It's like seeing a therapist sort of thing, and you're in a room filled with people that completely understand, and that's what I like about that. Plus it's a way to get out the house, do something that's productive for your mental health. Oh, it's not for everyone, but I turned it down for a while, but I'm going to start going back to that.
Well, that's good. And is there anything else that you do, like, to help yourself?
Just staying busy, focus on my health and my painting, and just keep a solid work day. Well, not a work day, but a solid scheduled day where I'm just staying busy till I go to bed.
Yeah.
Always just trying to stay busy on a task and keep my mind clear of those negative thoughts.
All right. Well, I think that's it. It's been episode 3 of season 2 of On the Line with Big Whaley. I'm your host, Hanley. I'll let Big Whaley take us out. So go ahead, dude, take us out.
So you can add me on Instagram at big.whaley, WHALEY. Just if you like want to talk or something like about your current situation that you're going through, you know, like I'm an open ear and I love to help, you know, because I didn't really have anyone like try and help me in the beginning. I was always looked down on. So I wouldn't look down and I'd be understanding, and hopefully I could give you some advice and some help to get you on your way.
So make sure you hit up Big Whaley on Instagram. That's big.whaley. And as always, you can hit me at On the Line with, that's ONTHELINEWITH. And we'll be back in a couple weeks with another episode of On the Line with. I'm your host, Hanley. I hope all the listeners enjoyed, and I hope the new listeners enjoyed and continue to enjoy. So have a good one, or I'll see you in a couple weeks.